So in this screencast, we will see how you can move the data from HBase into Cosmos DB. So what is HBase? HBase is the Hadoop database, a distributed, scalable, big data store. You use HBase when you need random, real-time read-write access to your big data. And HBase is used to host very large tables. By large tables, I mean when you have billions of rows, millions of columns. And Apache HBase is an open source, distributed version, non-relational database modeled after Google's Bigtable. Just as Bigtable leverages the distributed data storage provided by Google File System, Apache HBase provides Bigtable-like capabilities on top of Hadoop and HDFS. So we will be using HD Insight for HBase. So what is HD Insight? So Azure HD Insight is a fully managed, full spectrum open source analytics service for enterprises. HD Insights makes it easy, fast, and cost effective to process massive amount of data. And HD Insight provides all the popular open source framework such as Hadoop, Spark, Hive, Kafka, Storm, and R. And now what is Azure Cosmos DB? It's a fully managed, multi-model, multi-master, globally distributed database service with very high throughput and low latency. And when I say high throughput, by that I mean millions of requests per second. And low latency means less than 10 millisecond read and 15 millisecond write. And Azure Cosmos DB was built from the ground up with global distribution and horizontal scale at its core. It offers turnkey global distribution across any number of Azure regions. And Cosmos DB automatically indexes the data without requiring you to deal with any schema or index management. It is a multi-model database and it supports documents, key value, graph, and column data models. Azure Cosmos DB database can be used as the data store for apps written for Mongo, Cassandra, or Graph. That's what we mean by multi-model. You can have different kind of data in Cosmos DB, like you can put JSON documents, table, key value, graph, Mongo data, or Cassandra in Cosmos DB. You can learn more about Cosmos DB by a video called Overview of Cosmos DB. It's about an hour long video. So take a look at that to know more about Cosmos DB. But here in this screencast, we will focus on data migration from HBase to Cosmos DB. So now let's go and create an HBase instance in HD Insight. So for that, come to your Azure portal, click on Create a Resource, look for HD Insight, and click on it. And then just choose Create. And let's put this basic information here. What the cluster name I want, I'll say Rafat and HD Insight. Choose a subscription. And then choose here the cluster type. And this is where you're choosing HBase. And you can see the version, it's on Linux. And you can see what all the features are there. You can have a HBase into your custom virtual network. And same is true for Cosmos DB also. You can enable VNet there. And you can have data lake store as a primary data storage for HBase. So that's it. And then just click select. Here, choose some password. And use a resource group. Generally, you should be using an existing resource group. Let me choose and location. So this location becomes important when you will be setting up your storage in the next step. So you should have your location of HBase where your storage is. So choose whatever location you want to keep and then just click next. So now let's set up the storage, and as you can see that you will have three options here, like you can choose Azure Storage or Data Lake Gen 1, and Data Lake Gen 2 is in preview. So if you sign up for preview, this option will be highlighted for you. So you can choose any of these options which can be used by HBase to store your data. And here you can, just put your storage account name and access key. You will get this from your storage account. So I'm not spending much time on showing you how to set up HD inside and how to set up HBase. I'm sure there's a lot of documentation and separate screencasts there to do that, because here our aim is to move data from HBase into the Cosmos DB. So that's what I want to focus and quickly show you how you can use Azure Data Factory to move the data between these two databases. And to learn about HBase and HD Insight, you should look for separate videos here on this channel, or there's a lot of documentation available. Okay, after this, you can just say next, and that's about it. If I would have given this thing, it will be not red here. So once I'm done here, I will just say create cluster, and it will take almost 20 minutes or so. But I already have this cluster created. So let's go and take a look. So now your HD Insight cluster is created. You click on it and you will come to this screen. You can see the overview here and how many nodes are running and all the other details. What is the URL for your cluster? And the other important thing is you have to get this SSH information, so you can log into it and copy this information, and then we'll go inside the cluster and create a table in our HBase and put some data there so we can move that data to Cosmos DB. So that's it. And you see here the storage account which we use while creating this HD Insight. You see the storage account here. You can click and then you can explore your storage account itself. Once you will create a table inside the HBase, that table will show up in your storage account here. So we got the SSH. Now let's go and create a login into the HBase. For that, let's open a command prompt and then just type here and type your password. This is the password you gave when you were creating the cluster. It was asking what is the username, and we left it as a default admin and we gave a password. So just type the password here. Now we are logged into our HD Insight. Now let's go to HBase. HBase shell will take us into the shell of HBase, and there we can manage our HBase, create table, delete table, insert data, and things like that. Okay. So now let's create a table called demo with a column called maybe personal. So here's the table demo, and personal is one of the column, and then we'll just create it. So now let's take a look at the table which we have created. So if you just do the list, you can see that the demo table is created here. Now we can quickly add some data to this table. So let's do that. Put demo. So here I am putting this data personal in personal column the name Rafat Saroj in the demo table, and the key is 1. Okay, that's it. So once I'll enter, this data will be added. And now we can quickly check the data which we inserted in the table. We can say scan demo and insert, and you can see there's a 1 row is added, and here's the column personal, and here's the value in that column. Okay, so the data is there in my HBase table called demo. Now let's go to Azure Data Factory and see how I can move this data to Cosmos DB. So now before we go to Azure Data Factory, let's take a quick look on the Cosmos DB collection I have and check if my collection is empty or not. So I created an Cosmos DB account called Rafat Metric Demo. Inside that, let's go and check the database and collection I have. Here I have a IoT database, and there we have another collection called IoT, and this is the collection where I will be moving the data from HBase. So I look in the document, it's all empty. So I refresh, there's no data in here. Now let's go to Azure Data Factory to move the data in here. Okay. Now create an instance of Azure Data Factory. So get to the resources, Azure Data Factory, and click on this, and then create, and then just fill in some information. What is the name of this data factory you want? What is the subscription and resource group? Version v1 and v2 is there. Choose v2, and then the location. Location here, keep an eye on this location thing. If your Cosmos DB and your HBase and your data factory all in one location, it will be better. But obviously you can have it in different location, but then the transfer of the data will take some time. So once you choose all this, then just click on create, and it will create the data factory for you. Now once your data factory is created, you click on it and come to the main portal of Azure Data Factory. Here you can see some information about the data factory, and then you can click on this author and monitor. Okay, now your data factory is ready to copy the data. So now click on this copy data, and here I can now create my source and destination. So this is my task name. My task name can be HBase to Cosmos DB. Next, and here I can come and choose my source. You can click on the database here and say create new collection, and you can come down and you see here HBase. So you click on it and say continue, and here is the information you have to fill up. So I gave this name HBase1, and connect via integration runtime, it's auto resolve. Just leave it as is because everything in Azure, and your data factory is there too, so you don't have to do anything special. You may need all this when you have on-prem and you want to integrate it or move the data from on-prem or from your own installation to Azure. Now here the host, this is the URL of my HDN site. Port is 443, and this is something very important you have to remember. HBase REST 0, that's the HTTP path you have to give to connect to your table, and then authentication basic, username, I put admin and my username which I used, and then I can come click on this to test the connection. Okay, connection successful, and this is it. So here, this is what I chose, HBase as a source data store is used as HBase, and I'll say next. Testing connection, please wait. And then you can see the tables here. Filter by table name. I can say demo and say refresh. Let's bring it down. Click on this, and then you can see preview. You can see the data I have entered, and it's showing it the data in HBase inside your data factory as a source. So now you can say next, and now you can choose the destination source. Again, you can create a new, and then when you click on this create new, you can choose this Azure Cosmos DB. If you click on this, it will ask you to input some more data, and this is what you have to enter. I'll show you here. You give the name of the destination and put the connection string here, whatever your Cosmos DB connection string is there. Choose the database name, and that's it. And then you can test the connection here. And now you can close this. So you can see here, you can use the key vault also, and you can get the keys from the key vault. But here, for this demo purpose, I'm just showing you, you can choose destination, a Cosmos DB. So I chose Cosmos DB here for destination, and I do next. It's found out the mapping source is demo table from the HBase, and going into the destination, which collection. Remember, in the previous screen, we just chose the database. Now here I am choosing the collection where it should go, and I say collection should be, destination is IoT. And then I can just click on next, and all the data will be moved from source into destination. Okay, so on this screen, I can see my table mapping happening from the source is demo table from HBase, and moving to destination IoT collection. I'm not doing any column mapping, that's why there's nothing here, but here are some more Cosmos DB sync properties which you can play with, like what is your write behavior, is it insert or upsert? You can choose, we are just inserting, and then here's the write batch size. Here by default is 10,000, but you can change it. It is something you have to play with, changing this number to maybe 100,000, 50,000 to see how fast your data move in, because this will affect what RU you have chosen on your collection when you were creating. So if your RU on your collection is 400 and you are trying to write data which is writing much beyond 400 RU, you will start getting throttled and all that, and some errors. So you have to make sure that your collection is provisioned for a higher throughput than what batch sizes you choose. I have other screencasts where I went in more depth on these numbers and discussed how you can, tweak different things in Cosmos DB and in Azure Data Factory to move your data very, very fast. So look for moving data from Azure Data Storage to Cosmos DB. That's where I went into depth about these numbers. So here now my column mapping is done. I'll just click next. And fault tolerant, I'm saying first activity on first incompatible row, it will stop or skip and log. So you can choose all of these options here. I will just say skip, and I'm leaving this at auto copy of parallelism and integration unit. You can change these numbers, but again, this is a factor of trial and error to find out what is the right number. And as I said, look for my screencast where I'm trying to move data from Azure storage into Cosmos DB, and that's where we discuss this in much depth. So now here I should just say next, and it is showing me it's moving the data from HBase into Azure Cosmos DB. Okay, here's the task name, here's the source and destination, and let's see what happens next. It's deploying, and let's go and monitor. And I can see there is a job which is in progress. And as you can see, this job succeeded moving the data. Now let's go and quickly look at our collection and see if the data has come there or not. Now I'm here in my collection and I'm checking if the data is moved. It must be, because there was no error, otherwise I'll see an error. So look in the document, and here is one document added, which I added in HBase, and here's the data. And obviously, as you know, these are the extra attributes, properties from the Cosmos DB itself. So we've just moved one row, but you can take it to 100 million rows. It's same process. There's no difference. Now go ahead and move your data from HBase to Cosmos DB, hundreds of millions of rows, and let me know how is the performance of it. So this is it. This is a very quick screencast of how to move data from HBase into the Cosmos DB. So let me know what other data migration projects you would like to see. Leave a comment and tell me what other source databases you are interested in, from where you want to move the data into the Cosmos DB. Thank you for your time. I hope this is helpful for you.